How I found out about my spouse's affair. Have you ever had a gut feeling? So faint, so quiet, that you could almost ignore it, but it keeps tugging at your thoughts when everything is supposed to be normal. That was me. For the longest time, I believed my wife and I had a strong relationship. We laughed together, made plans for the future, even shared playlists on Spotify. Ours wasn't a perfect marriage. No marriage is. But we had history, a child, and a life built from scratch, side by side. But then, there was that feeling. A whisper that something was off. And the truth I uncovered was far worse than I ever imagined. This is how I found out my wife was cheating on me, and how it changed everything I thought I knew about love, loyalty, and myself. It started with small things. I remember coming home late from work one day and hearing the silence. Usually, she'd greet me at the door, or at least yell a "Hey babe" from the kitchen. But that evening, the house was unusually quiet. She was upstairs, door closed, phone in hand. When I walked in, she smiled, but there was hesitation behind it. Later that week, she changed her phone's password. It wasn't a big deal at first. I mean, we all have a right to privacy, right? But she had never felt the need before. Then came the late nights. Work meetings that suddenly ran hours longer than usual. Dinners she forgot to mention. She'd come home smelling like a place she hadn't told me she was going to. Her story started to stretch a little too thin. I asked questions, but her answers always danced around the edges. That whisper of doubt? It turned into a voice I couldn't ignore. It was a Tuesday when I found the first real piece of evidence. I was doing laundry. Her laundry, actually. A receipt fell out of her jeans pocket. 2 glasses of wine. An expensive dinner for 2. A date. I asked her about it. She said she took a coworker out to thank him for helping on a project. Something in the way she said it didn't sit right. The receipt was from a place we used to go on anniversaries. She hadn't taken me there in over a year. From that moment on, I started paying attention. I didn't want to be the suspicious husband, the insecure guy who checks his wife's phone. But she'd already put up walls. One night, she left her iPad unlocked on the kitchen counter. I didn't plan to snoop. I really didn't. But when I saw a message pop up from a name I didn't recognize, with a heart emoji, I tapped it, and everything unraveled. Messages, photos, hotel bookings. Whole weekends I thought she was with friends, or at seminars. She was with him. The betrayal wasn't just physical. It was emotional, deep, intimate. She didn't just cheat on me. She replaced me. I couldn't eat for 2 days. I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I imagined them together, laughing, touching, kissing in the places that once belonged to us. When I finally confronted her, I was shaking. I remember sitting across from her at the dining table. Our dining table, where we'd planned vacations, talked about baby names, cried over sick relatives. I told her I knew. She didn't deny it. She didn't cry. She just looked at me, cold and distant, and said, "I didn't mean for it to happen." Those words are a curse. I didn't mean for it to happen. As if she tripped and fell into someone else's bed. We argued. I yelled. She sat in silence. I asked her if she loved him. She didn't answer. And in that moment, I knew. After she left that night, I sat on the floor of our bedroom and stared at the wall for hours. Everything felt surreal. Like my life had split in half, and I was stuck between 2 realities. Our daughter was at her grandmother's that weekend. Thank God. I didn't want her to see me like that. I barely got out of bed the next morning. Food tasted like cardboard. My phone buzzed nonstop, friends asking if I was okay. She texted too, saying she was sorry, that she needed space. I didn't respond. I started replaying every moment of our marriage in my head, dissecting everything. Was it always a lie? Was she ever truly mine? Did I miss something early on? I even blamed myself for a while. Was I too busy? Not affectionate enough? Had I taken her for granted? Therapy helped me realize that her choices were hers, not mine. But it took time. I began seeing a therapist 2 weeks after the confrontation. The first session, I barely spoke. I just cried. He didn't push me. He just handed me tissues and said, "You're safe here." And for the first time in weeks, I felt like I could breathe. Grief doesn't only come when someone dies. It comes when the life you knew ends. And mine had ended the moment I read those messages on her iPad. Therapy became a place where I didn't have to pretend, where I could rage, cry, vent, question everything. Slowly, I began to make sense of my pain. I started journaling, working out, taking long walks with no destination, anything to feel present again. I also leaned heavily on my friends. At first, I felt embarrassed to talk about it. But the more I opened up, the more I realized how many people had gone through something similar. There's a quiet solidarity in heartbreak. A silent army of people who know what it's like to be shattered and still keep breathing. The hardest part was talking to our daughter. She was only 6, too young to understand, but old enough to know something was wrong. I tried to keep things normal, her routines, bedtime stories, movie nights. But kids are intuitive. One night, she asked, "Why doesn't mommy live here anymore?" I told her that sometimes grown-ups love each other, but still hurt each other. And when that happens, they need time apart to figure things out. She nodded, then asked, "But you still love me, right?" I broke down crying, pulled her into my arms, and said, "More than anything in this world." That night, I realized my role as a father didn't end because my wife broke her vows. If anything, it became even more important. Months passed. There were moments when I wanted to go back. Not to her, necessarily, but to before. When I was naive. When I believed in forever. But the truth is, the man I was before wouldn't have survived this. Now, I see life differently. I value honesty more. Silence, peace, time alone. I stopped trying to fix what she broke and started building something new for myself and for my daughter. I found joy in small things again. Sunsets, cooking, running without music. I found me again, and I realized that I am enough. That being cheated on didn't make me weak. It made me human. Infidelity doesn't just ruin a relationship, it changes you. It forces you to look in the mirror and ask, "Who am I without this person?" Here's what I've learned. You can survive betrayal. It'll break you, but it won't destroy you unless you let it. You are not to blame for someone else's choice to lie. Healing isn't linear. Some days you'll laugh. Other days you'll cry over a cup of coffee. You deserve love that doesn't make you question your worth. And maybe the most important lesson of all, you can start over. Not because you have to, but because you deserve to. If you're listening to this and going through something similar, if you just found out, or if you're living in the numb aftermath, let me tell you, you are not alone. You are not foolish for loving someone who betrayed you. You are not weak for still missing them sometimes. You are strong for surviving. Strong for waking up every day with a broken heart and choosing to move forward anyway. This pain will pass. This fog will lift. And one day, without even realizing it, you'll laugh again. You'll love again. Not because you forgot what happened, but because you grew from it. You'll stop surviving and start living. And when that day comes, I hope you look back and realize that broken version of you wasn't weak. He was a warrior in disguise.